Alright, welcome back to the third devlog of LimaTech. It's been a while, been a few months. Um, kind of been working here and there. I've picked up development this past week or two, and finally the version 0.8.0 beta is ready for release. Now, because I am posting this mod on more platforms, namely Reddit and maybe Discord, this devlog I am going to take a few minutes here at the start to kind of cover some of the base mod mechanics and content that I might have mentioned in these previous videos. So if you're only here for the new content, you might consider skipping ahead a minute or two. Well, let's get started. I'm going to start with the natural resources of the mod. There's only two, titanium and niobium. Titanium generates in the overworld as stone and deep slate variants, with the deep slate being more common, I think. The titanium is used for pretty much everything in the mod. It's basically this mod's iron. Let me see. Yeah, there's tools. All of the machines use it. Uh, most of the upgrades and fabricating recipes use it. The weapons use it. And that's a miscellaneous recipes that I'll cover later. Okay, niobium is the high-end electronics material. It's used for just for this, the niobium circuit, and I think it's also used for one or two of the weapons. Let me see. Okay. Okay, three of them actually. But yeah, this generates in the end and in the end islands, and it actually glows. Well, so let me just show it out here. Yeah, it is kind of rare, so I made it glow so you don't have to like spend like hours out there just trying to pick it out from the terrain. Next up is glow blocks. These are just decoration blocks. Originally they were just lime and light blue, but I've added them in all of the 16 dye colors of Minecraft. Uh, I mean, these are, yeah, they don't do anything. They just glow or light up the place. They have a light level of 15, the same as glowstone. Uh, One thing I'll note about them is that they don't have any extra functionality. They don't have redstone. They're not tile entities. They're just regular blocks. One pet peeve I have about mods that add these kind of blocks, there's a few, but they always seem to have redstone. It annoys me to an unreasonable extent because it's always like, normal and inverted. Like, who even uses the redstone on those? Like, come on, I just want to have like huge light strips around the base and like look at the roof. The roof is all of just the black glowing blocks, and there's no performance impact because they don't do anything. Next up is the titanium tools. These are double the durability of iron, but the same mining level and the same speed. Well, they're slightly faster, but it's not noticeable in gameplay at all. At least I don't think so. And next up, the crafting components, which is currently just the circuits and the salvage tech. The circuits are just used for crafting. They don't have any other use on their own. And the same for the salvage tech. Now, difference is the circuits you can craft. It's a fairly simple crafting table recipe. The salvage tech, on the other hand, cannot be crafted. You have to either find it or loot it. In the case of the auto-targeting systems, which is only used to make the anti-air turret, this one drops from phantoms. I believe it's a 10 or 20% chance. Not really sure. Next, let's get into the machinery. I've added two since the last update, so I'll go in order here. The first one is the digital furnace, and this one is, well, it's just a furnace. It uses CE to cook things. Nothing more to that. The grinder crushes things, and I believe I showed this in the last video, but its only use was to make deep slate powder. Well, I added another use for it. It's used to process ores now. You can process all of the Minecraft ores and the ones from my mod into their respective ore pebbles, which are then smelted into their respective items. Now, they have a 1-1 with the exception of coal, which is 2, lapis 6, redstone 8, and quartz 4. And I believe, yeah, that's it. All of the others are 1-1. The Recomposer is another new machine. Currently, it's not used in the progression tree. At least not directly. It can help you, mainly with the dyes, if you don't want to have a cactus farm and also a white dye farm, a skeleton farm, I should say. This extracts lime dye directly from leaves and seeds, and also titanium white from titanium. So if you don't, again, if you don't want to have a bone farm and you have more titanium that you know what to do with, you can turn it into white dye. The material fusion chamber, this one was also in the previous update, and it has not changed at all. It still just does its three recipes. This is how you make slate alloy, which is the uh, the only synthetic material in the mod right now, and it's made from netherite and deep slate powder. And well, the machine also makes netherite. If you want to go this route instead of the auto, well, yeah, any an auto crafting setup. And this alternate recipe cuts the netherite scrap by 2 if you choose to go this route and directly convert it to slate alloy instead of making netherite and then that. Next is the energy storage array. This one is the mod's CE storage block. It has 2 slots, one for charging the machine itself and the other for charging items from the machine's energy storage. You can also configure the input-output. It's by default input only with auto output enabled, but you can switch it. For example, top goes to output only, disabled, or input only. Next, we have the fabricator. Now, the fabricator is the flagship crafting machine of the mod, and fun little backstory here. This fabricator and the Hanabi are the main reasons for this mod even existing in the first place. Years back when I was just barely trying to learn to mod and trying to get this thing off of the concept stage, I wanted 2 things. I wanted an orb elemental orb launcher of sorts, and then I thought, well, how do I craft it? I want a machine that can take a lot of ingredients but doesn't have like the complexity of say something like the GregTech assembly line. So this is what I ended up with. It's currently okay. Let me actually show this in action. So we output only, and okay, we have energy. So how does a fabricator work? Each recipe has up to 16 ingredients. It doesn't have to be all of those, but it can. And what it does is it takes the ingredients directly from your inventory. There's no input slots. It only has 2, the energy and the output slot. So if you were to say you want to make a Hanabi, you select that and then you click it again to craft. Now I'm in creative, so it's obviously not gonna need any of the ingredients. If I was in survival though, you would need to have those, otherwise it's obviously not gonna work. And the ESA can't keep up with the energy use of the machine. It's only outputting 50,000, but yeah, here it's done. And that's how you make pretty much all of the upgrades, at least the ones that are craftable currently, and all of the weapons. Also the anti-air rocket turret. And let me show a little cool effect here. Let me craft another one, and while it's crafting, it has like that cool effect. This is kind of like a 3D printer. That's what I based it off of. And when it's done, it shows here the finished product. Take it out, it's not there anymore. And the fabricator, like all of these other machines, has I/O control. This one is for items. The energy storage array only has for energy. This one is for items. And let me actually show it here. I can show the fabricator, but I think it would be a better idea to show off these other 2. Let me clear my inventory. Let me get, I don't know, let's get a niobium ore. Let's toss that in there. Let's set that to auto output from the left. Let's configure this to input from the right and auto output to the top. And you can see we already got the 3 from the grinder here. Put a chest here. And there we go, it's outputting. One thing I missed as I was I'm checking my footage here is I missed the wrench mechanic. This is just like any other mod's wrench mechanic. You shift right click a machine and it breaks it instantly. And one other cool thing, they keep their contents and oh, right, and when you hold shift, you see how much energy, and it also shows you the items stored in there. And it also saves crafting progress. So let me start to grind some deep slate titanium ore. And it's right around half. If I break it, place it down, it resumes where it left off and also keeps its contents. And it also it keeps its IO control. The final machine, according to my notes here, is going to be this one, the anti-air rocket turret. This is not really a machine, it's the equipment upgrade table for the weapons, but that comes after that. Uh, well, this one is just, it's a work in progress. It's not done. There's no GUI. It doesn't use energy or any ammunition items, at least for now. That's going to change. But mostly, I just have it here as this kind of a function test. So just here to demonstrate. All right, well, go to the roof and okay, there's already one here. Let me summon the phantoms so you can see how it works. This can target up to 10, and I think this is only going to summon 5, but here you'll see. And there it is. Moving on to the last part of the devlog here, we have the weapons. Now, I know you're probably thinking like, yeah, electric furnaces, grinders, like who cares? Those are dime a dozen. We want the good stuff. So here it is. These are all of the 5 weapons currently in the game. Previously had them on item frames, but the armor stands are probably a better showcase. See the Serenity submachine gun, the Aurora shotgun, the Hanabi grenade launcher, the Daybreak rocket launcher, and the comically oversized Nova Magnum handgun. So let's start with the Serenity and go in order. And before I start, I'm actually gonna talk about the controls. So you shoot with left click and you aim with right click. Or, well, you can only aim the submachine gun and the Magnum. The others don't work. And you press R to reload. And I'm in creative, so it's not going to do anything, but let me switch to survival real quick. And yeah, and see on the left there, that is your ammo indicator. The first number, the one in green, is your how much you currently have in your magazine. And the gray smaller number is your magazine capacity. And press R here. Also a cool little animation here when you reload. Let me go back to creative mode. And that item I just used there was the ammo canisters. Let me see if I'm supposed to. Okay, yeah. So these ammo canisters are the ammunition items for the weapons by default. And I say by default because there's a few upgrades so that you change how the ammo works, but I'm not getting into that yet. And okay, now that I covered the controls, I'll go ahead with the rest of the weapons. So the Serenity is a close range shredder type gun. It's meant to deal very quickly with zombies, skeletons, trash mobs, very quickly. But it suffers against medium or high level threat mobs. The reason for that is because of weapon damage modifiers. That is a system that I added that lets you modify how much damage each individual weapons do to either a specific entity type or a tag. In this case, the Serenity has a 40% damage reduction against medium level threat mobs, which are, I think, Ravagers, all of the Illagers, I think, a few more. I think the Piglin Brutes might be in there too. I'd have to check, but it's if you don't encounter it rarely, or I should say, if you encounter it rarely, and it's something that you would consider like a mini boss, it's likely in the medium threat level category. High threat level is the Warden, the Elder Guardian, Wither, and the Dragon. Now, for that one, what the modifier does is it overrides the base damage after all, not the base damage actually, because the weapon damage modifiers apply after all of the upgrade modifiers, and for the submachine gun, it sets it to a flat 0.5, which is a quarter of a heart. So yeah, you really don't want to be using this against bosses. It will punish you for that. It's meant for the smaller mobs, and it also has a short range. So let me, yeah, it's around 12 blocks, I think. Let me show you. Let's pick out some unfortunate test subjects here. Do the zombie. Yeah, half a second, probably less than that, and they're gone. Even the Enderman, the spider too, why not? But even something like an Enderman, which has pretty beefy health compared to the other ones, even this guy is just, yeah, he's gone. Next up is the Aurora shotgun, and this one, it has an even shorter range than the Serenity, and well, it's a shotgun. It's a close range scatter shot weapon. This one, the ammo is a lot rarer, and the same goes for the other ones. The explosive and the magnum ammunition is even rarer, but this is also kind of uncommon. The most common ammunition that you're gonna find is for the submachine gun. But this, let me show it here in action. Yeah, and it does a lot of damage very quickly, and oddly enough, it does more damage than the grenade launcher, and I don't know about the rocket launcher. Not the rocket, but it does do more damage than the grenade launcher to bosses. It kills the warden in 15 or 16 shots, I believe, whereas the grenade launcher is like 17. So, yeah, that's I gotta work with the numbers a little there. And this is also very powerful. This will one-shot pretty much any of the common overworld mobs, uh, most of the nether mobs too. In fact, all of them. And the Um, it'll also one-shot Enderman, which is kind of like a cool thing I like about it because, and I've always wanted a way to one-shot these guys. Let me one in again, and yeah, it does have some damage modifiers too. It has some, it has a penalty for the bosses. Uh, I don't remember off the top of my head which one. Actually, let me go in the code real quick. And I'll tell you exactly because I don't want to be just guessing here, throwing out numbers that aren't really correct. Let's see, data maps generation, and okay, we got it has a 20% damage penalty against the medium threat level mobs, which I just covered, I think, and a 40% damage penalty against bosses. And that's another bug that I need to fix because okay, ignore the bug discovery there. I'll fix that and upload the fixed version, hopefully. Next up, we have the Hanabi. This one is a grenade launcher. It You can select between several different round types. So by default, you have explosive. You can switch between this, flame, freeze, electric, acid, and Neuro. This is a good time to talk about upgrades. Not yet, but just real quick. As you pull it out from the Creative tab, it comes with the Arcoides Hanabi core, which unlocks all of the types. But normally in survival, you craft this in the Fabricator, and it comes with nothing. So you have to unlock all of the round types individually, and these will each have their own crafting recipe. So let's show off the round types a little bit. First one is standard explosive. This deals neutral damage, pretty high amount, enough to one-shot the normal mobs, but not too much against the bosses. Moderately large area. You see that little flash? That's kind of like that's the blast radius of the grenade. Uh, Ignore the little like shockwave particles. The big flash is the actual like defined blast radius of the grenade. Flame. Flame has a shorter blast radius and lower damage on impact, but the difference with this one is that when it hits, it creates several of those sticky flame. Those are entities, that's not the ground being set on fire. And these have gravity and let me shoot it off over there. Yeah, those deal an insanely high amount of damage over time if something gets stuck in it. For example, let me summon a golem here. So I'm gonna spare the golem from the initial blast damage, but even just placing it in afterwards, then you can see what's gonna happen. Well, it didn't die, but it will. There we go. Freeze. Freeze has the largest blast radius, and also, if not the weakest, one of the weakest blast damages, because this is not a DPS grenade. This is a debuff grenade, the same as Acid and Neuro. What it does is it applies the freeze debuff to targets, which heavily slows them down. It almost slows them down to a crawl, and it applies the freezing just as a bonus. Yeah, they're freezing to death, and well, it's not accurate on anything, but if it was, it would be moving like super slowly. Let's get rid of that. Let's go into the next one. Electric. This one is a bit of a special case. Under normal circumstances, you have lower damage and lower blast radius than the standard explosive. However, it changes when you're in rain or water, and depending on who's in the rain or water, the grenade and the target. If the target is in rain or water, the damage is tripled against that target, and if the grenade itself hits in rain or water, the blast radius is doubled. So let's show it here. And also, in my opinion, it has the coolest visual effects of all of the grenades. So let's summon a couple of creepers here. So shoot it off in the middle. Okay. So, and you can see the blast radius is small-ish. Let's summon a couple more. Let's wait for the rain to fully kick in. And then let's shoot it a bit farther. Or yeah. If it wasn't raining where I'm shooting it, wouldn't hit, or it would hit probably like the first like these ones that are close to it. But now that it's raining, yeah, you see a massive range increase. Oh wow, I was not even expecting them to hit those, but well, it did. Okay, let's clear that out and finish with the other two rounds. Next is Acid. Acid is like Freeze, a debuff type. It it doesn't do that much damage. Like it won't even one-hit kill a creeper. What the Acid one is for is it heavily reduces target armor and armor toughness. Now, in regular vanilla Minecraft, there's not many instances where this would be useful because there's really nothing in the game that's armored to the point where you would want this, but it is there mainly for modded content. So yeah, let's get rid of this guy. Nero. Now, Nero does have a use, and this one I designed around one specific mod, or not mod, mob that I dislike, the Warden. Now, Neuro applies the Neuro suppressed effect, and again, this deals very little damage. I think. Oh wow, it takes several. Like it really doesn't do that much damage. But those particles are the Neuro suppressed effect. What it does is that it heavily reduces the damage from from whatever you hit. But the the difference between this and the weakness effect from just regular vanilla, weakness only affects melee damage. This hooks in with the event system from NeoForge, and basically anything that can be traced back to an entity that has the neurosuppressed effect will have its damage cut by 33.33% per level. Or is it 34%? I'm not sure. I think it's 33. Either 33 or 33.3%. And this applies neurosuppressed level 3. So anything that you hit is going to essentially have its entire damage cut off. And again, let me rid of that guy and let me show you what I mean. I mean, this guy, the Warden, is the hardest mob in the game. It hits like a truck. Mojang themselves has said that you're not supposed to fight it, which I think is a dumb reasoning. I mean, it's a mob. If it's a mob, you're supposed to be able to fight it. But either way, let me soften him up a little bit. That's good enough. So yeah, strongest mob, and look what he's gonna do. Okay, never mind. I'm shielded, but I had 40 shield when I started, and he took off 2. Now, each 2 points of health, or shield health, is a heart of damage. So this guy, like, nearly, if not one-shots you in netherite armor. I'm unarmored, and he took off a grand total of 1 heart. So yeah, the neuro effect is it's really powerful. It's really meant for this guy and maybe another, like, let's say a modded boss that's like kind of BS. You can use it to effectively neuter them. And I that's the last round. Might as well cover the daybreak while I'm at it. Um, this one, there's nothing much to say about it. It's not finished yet. It's heavily work in progress. It shoots rockets, and that's it. And there's no other mechanic to it. They do have pretty high damage. I do think that it's technically the highest base damage of any of the weapons, but I mean, it's just there. I do have plans for it though. Um, if you've seen the rocket turret, that's eventually when I get around to it, that's going to be my plan for it. Have it be like a lock-on weapon or add a cluster bombs or really anything to make it good. And finally, the Magnum, the Nova. Well, this one is arguably the strongest. No, not arguably. It is the strongest weapon in the game. It might not have the highest base damage, but it does have the most like strength against targets, and let me show you why. So this one has 7 shots in the mag, and you can aim it like the Serenity. And it also sounds really cool. It's not meant to be a pistol, it's a Magnum. Let me show it. Pretty slow rate of fire there. If you had watched my previous video, if you remember, this used to have scaling damage, and the ammo canisters were locked behind the ominous vaults of trial chambers. That's no longer a thing, and I'll show you why in the next section. But yeah, it no longer has that scaling damage, at least not by default. And also its ammo canister is now just part of the regular loot pool of ammo drops, albeit it's very rare, like by default. Without the ammo scavenger enchantment, it's like 1.9%, and that's after a 10% RNG roll. So yeah, you're not going to be using this very often. Also, it's expensive to build. It's like the fabricator. Okay, the energy is inconsequential. I mean, this thing's essentially infinite. Titanium, niobium, these circuits. Remember that these are 3 each, so really this is 48 gold and 24 niobium, along with another 24 niobium, and this stuff is kind of rare. You do have the grinder now to alleviate that resource cost, but it's still, it's something. Also, one more thing that I wanted to note here. I was reading my notes. The Serenity, the Aurora, and the Nova, those little green thingies you see are particle effects. They're not entities. Um, in game, I call them light frags, life fragments. It's just a fancy like lore thing that I came up with. But these weapons are hit scan. Like when you shoot it and has already like traced the path and hurt whatever's in front of it. These two obviously aren't. These are actually entities. The grenades and the rocket. But yeah, these are hit scan. Okay, so just before I go into the upgrade system, I'm going to cover 2 enchantments that I added. Ammo Scavenger and Razor. Now, for vanilla Minecraft, the maximum level for these is 3 each. Ammo Scav 3 and Razor 3. I'll start with Razor because it's the easier of the two to explain. This one is increased mob head drops, or rather, it gives you a chance for a head to drop, and fairly straightforward. For each level, 10% chance. At level 10, it's 100% chance, and level 3, 30% chance for a mob to drop its head. It works with any mob in vanilla that has a head, and it could also be modified. Like for a mod pack, the head table is a loot table. We can modify it. I have any mod adds a mob that has a head. You can just add it in there. The ammo scavenger. All right, so let me talk a bit about how ammo drops work first before I get into that. These are the four ammo canister items. The automatics is for the Serenity, the Specialist for the Aurora, explosives for both the Hanabi and Daybreak, and Magnum for the Nova. When you kill a hostile mob, there is a 10% chance for a ammo box to drop, not a specific one, just for an ammo box to drop. And that is affected by looting, not the ammo scavenger. What the ammo scavenger does then is if a ammo box does drop, like you hit that 10% chance, then it's gonna be one of these four. And let me pull up. Okay, no, I have it in my notes here. It has with no ammo scavenger, it has a 78% chance to be on automatics, 14.7 chance to be a specialist, 4.9% to be explosives, and 1.96% to be magnum. With a level 5 ammo scavenger, which is the maximum you can get with the upgrade system, that changes to 50.96 chance to be a automatics, 28.66% chance to be specialist, 12.74 for explosive, like percent to drop, and 7.64% to be magnum. So that's a significant increase. And if you want to be using the more powerful weapons more often, the ammo scavenger enchantment or upgrade is something that you are going to want to invest in because otherwise the chances you're going to be swimming in automatics ammo canisters and only a few. And actually designed it that way on purpose because if I had to choose between common ammo and the weapons being very weak, as is the case with other gun mods, I mean, you have some gun mods that the shotgun I see like, oh, like big sound effects and then it doesn't kill a zombie in one hit. I'm just like, okay, that's just kind of wrong. So that's my solution for it. Rare ammo drops, at least at the beginning. You can obviously fix that with the ammo scavenger enchantment and with the ammunition upgrades, which I'm just about to get into. All right, we've arrived at the very last section of my devlog here, and I'm going to cover the upgrade system. Now, I had covered this in the last video, but I pretty much rewrote the entire thing and it's completely changed. There's no such thing as like permanent or removable upgrades anymore. They're all removable, and I migrated my. It used to be like a hard-coded registry, kind of like regular items and blocks are, is now a data pack registry like enchantments. So this is the equipment mod table. You put your weapon here, and you install upgrades here, and when you remove one, it'll be here. Let's get for example, let's get all of the weapons here. You can see now. Put in the green launcher. As you can see here, it has that Nautical 80s Hanabi core. Again, this is a creative only thing. When you pull out a tab, it has that. Um, Out of the fabricator, it has no upgrades, and I did this because I was getting sick of like having to put in all the cores one by one, like for debug purposes. So the Serenity has the Serenity intrinsics. This one does come with this mod when you pull out of the fabricator, and so does this, the Aurora intrinsics. And you can see here the rank of the upgrade, the name of the upgrade, and you hover over it, you get the full description. So for this, the Aurora comes with this because it's like a fast-paced, like what do you call it, charger weapon. So you can see here, you move 25% faster, which I believe is speed 1 or speed 2. Might be speed 2 actually, or faster, I'm not sure. And you get one step height. And also it pierces 15% of armor. Now the Serenity, okay, the description is a bit vague on this one, but I'll explain it when I cover the upgrades and the other ones because it those do show what this do. But yeah, the hunt. Okay, I already covered that one. These don't come with anything. So let's go to the weapon mods. So these have the same icon. However, hold shift and you'll see the rank and the actual little icon of the upgrade. Now it has to be this way because these are, again, this is all of these are the same item. They just have a different like NBT or data component entry, like enchanted books. So um, you hold shift and you'll see the the information. Oh, for example, like this one, this is compatible with all LTX weapons, the ammo scavenge upgrade. This is identical to the enchanted book, and it gives you like rank 5. Each rank for this gives you that level of enchantment. So rank 5 would be level 5 of the ammo scavenger enchantment. You have also other ones like the Hanabi core, and you'll see it's compatible with only the Hanabi, and same as this one, launch boost, and this one high impact rounds only works for, you see, the Aurora and the Nova. And let me see what else. Where's the Nova upgrade? Oh, right. Remember with the Nova Magnum, that scaling damage that I had removed? Now it's an upgrade. It doesn't have a crafting recipe, not yet. Remember, this whole mod is a work in progress, but here it is. It adds 20% of the target's max health as bonus damage, and it ignores armor completely. So yeah, there's that. These Hanabi cores are, as I had mentioned, the way you unlock the different round types. And let's see. This one is self-explanatory. The grenades fly farther. I already covered that. High impact rounds adds knockback that ignores knockback resistances. So, things like the Warden, it, if you shoot it with the Aurora or the Nova with this upgrade, it'll send it, flying back. Looting or loot drop booster. Well, it's the looting enchantment and self-explanatory. Each rank gives you a level of looting, with the maximum being 5. Let's see. Razor Light Strike's the same thing. Levels 1 through 5 of the Razor enchantment. And I covered these, and let me move on to the next one. This one, Acoustic Attenuation. When you shoot a weapon and when the grenade and rockets hit and they explode, it causes skulk vibration events. So this mod, or yeah, this mod, the equipment mod, it removes that. So when you shoot it, it will no longer trigger a skulk event, and the same with the grenade launcher and the rocket launcher. You have this mod, neither the shooting of the weapon or the explosion of the projectile will trigger the skulk event. Armor piercing rounds, fairly self-explanatory. Each rank gives you 10% of armor pierce. I don't think these have crafting recipes yet, but they will probably. Ammo synthesis. Okay, this one requires its own little section here. So let me pull these out. All right, so let's take, for example, the Serenity. Uh, I already covered the ammo indicator there on the left. Now let's put these away and let's own this. And let's install the energy synth on the second one and infinite ammo on the third one. So what this does now is that this one, without any upgrades, it uses the automatic canister to reload. That's simple enough. Now you see, with the one with the energy synth gains an additional indicator there on the left. That 0% is common energy, forge energy, redstone flux, whatever you want to call it. And it's 0% because I just installed it, and we can place it here, and it holds 1 million. And it also tells you now, look, this one, it just says reloads with Automax ammo canister. This one now says it synthesizes from common energy units. It holds 1 million and it costs 80,000 per reload. Also, one thing, once you install this upgrade, you cannot reload with the ammo canister items anymore. So, be careful with that. And infinite ammo, self-explanatory. It's infinite ammo. And you see the ammo indicator on the left is now purple with the infinity symbol. This one is not craftable. Neither of them are craftable, but the the energy one will eventually. So yeah, they help you, manage your ammo better. Now, fun little, I guess, remark here is for those of you who are familiar with the common energy ecosystem with all of the mods here, you're gonna look at these two and you're gonna say they're the same thing. And you know what? I agree with you, which is why this is probably going to be very expensive because if you're playing a kitchen sink mod pack, these two might as well be the same thing. Oh, and this is a bit more of a back-end development comment. All of these upgrades are registry, data pack registry entries. The effects are not. The effects are not hard-coded, but so for example, let me for example, let's take mending. I'm not gonna look it up, but the mending enchantment, the effect that it gives you, which is repair by XP, is one thing, but the mending enchantment is another thing. The mending enchantment is basically just a uh, like a reference that says this enchantment lets you repair with XP, because each enchantment is a collection of effects. So you can actually add an enchantment that say repair with XP, but only works with wooden tools. You could add that; it would be a little pointless, but you could. So the same thing with this. The the effect to let your weapon reload with energy is not tied to this upgrade. You can, in theory, make your own upgrade and add any sort of effects. For example, the unlock grenade effect that each one of these has it, and the arcoiris has like a collection of those effects with all of those, and you could make them with the energy ammo synthesis as well. You can make an upgrade that, for example, only lets you synthesize for the submachine gun. And the entire point and the reason I brought all of that up was because this is the universal energy synth. It's probably going to go away, and I'm going to replace it with individual versions for each weapon because I think, remember I said that this is essentially infinite ammo. Yeah, I there's some weapons that I want you to unlock this like very late, like the Magnum and the Hanabi, but for something like the Serenity, I think this should be unlocked relatively early on because you might as well. I mean, the you'll be swimming in these automatics canister anyway, so it doesn't make that much of a difference. Right, moving on. Shield Siphon. This one gives you bubble shield. It's a little number there you see in the bottom left, not bottom, left middle. That's and also has this cool little rendering. In fact, this is not final. I am going to update this model eventually. And what the shield currently does is it's basically just fancy absorption. It doesn't do anything else. It doesn't recharge automatically. Currently, the only way to get more of these shield points is with this upgrade. Each each kill gives you 4 points of bubble shield, and each rank of the upgrade increases how much like the maximum amount you can get. For example, rank 1, it's only going to give you can only earn up to 10 shield points. Rank 2 is 20, rank 3 is 30. The final upgrade being biometric obfuscation. This is basically no anger. So when you hit something like an iron golem, a zombie piglin, they'll become aggro on you, um, and this makes them not do that. Now that I covered these two, the acoustic attenuation and the biometric obfuscation, brings me back to the Serenity intrinsics. Remember I said that upgrades are a collection of effects. These two, the Serenity intrinsics upgrade is these two effects together, and also the armor piercing. But the Serenity doesn't pierce like a percent of armor. What it does is it pierces natural armor, which is a base armor attribute. If you're familiar with zombies, those have like a base armor value of like 2, I think, and this will go through that, but it won't go through anything else. So if they're wearing like, let's say like a piece of iron armor, it won't go through that, but it will go through their base armor value. And I believe I've covered everything here. Well, that's it. So as always, the CurseForge link will already be up by the time I upload this video. So check the description on my comment. I hope I can. I don't think I can put links yet in my description, or I might. But yeah, for now, that's it. See you all later.